Welcome to Key Concept 7 Target B. Your objective for this video is I can label a triangle by viewing it from the perspective of an angle. So as you may remember, triangles by definition have three sides. That's what the tri in triangles means. And you can kind of interpret that also as triangles, saying they have three angles and three sides. Should be pretty self-explanatory. Each side, though, has a specific name when looking at it from the point of view of an angle. So this is important to keep in mind when we say perspective. When I think of your perspective or my perspective, we're talking about our points of view, right? How we interpret things given everything that we are as people. And when we look at triangles, we'll look at it from the point of view of an angle. So you have to kind of insert yourself in as an angle in a given triangle and label each side as one of these three. The side can either be labeled as the opposite side, which is the side directly across from the angle, the hypotenuse, which is the side directly across from the right angle, key being here, and it is also the longest side. And then the last side is called the adjacent, which is the side next to the angle that is not the hypotenuse. That's what adjacent means. Adjacent means next to. If I think of what's adjacent to me right now, you will probably see things like my smartboard or my whiteboard. Those are adjacent to me. They are next to me. So let's look at a triangle. Here we have triangle XYZ, and we want to label every bit of information from the perspective of angle X. So angle X is this angle right here. It is in this little corner. So we have three possible names for each side. Sides could be adjacent, sides could be hypotenuse, or sides could be the opposite. So the opposite side is the side directly across from the angle. So across from the angle, I see this 28. So the side that is length 28 is the opposite side, which I will abbreviate as OPP for opposite. Next, we have the hypotenuse, which is the side directly across from the right angle. So across from the right angle is the hypotenuse, right? If I draw out from, and this is something that we did before, across from the right angle, this is hypotenuse. Now the hypotenuse, which I'll abbreviate with HYP, is the longest side. So when I look at each side length, 21, 28, 35, makes sense in that the 35, the longest side, this is the biggest, is the hypotenuse. And if you've done everything correctly, there should just be one side remaining, and this side is the adjacent side. It's the side next to the angle that is not the hypotenuse. Well, this angle next to it is this 21 length side here. So I'll label this as the adjacent side, which I'll do with ADJ. Now I just used the first three letters, right? OPP, HYP, and ADJ. But that's how I view the triangle from the angle X. Now, there are more angles in this triangle than just angle X, right? What about labeling it from the perspective of angle Z? Well, angle Z is over here. How do I view the world now from angle Z? From this angle, this little corner pocket here. Well, the opposite side is now the 21 side. What's nice, though, is that the hypotenuse is still directly across from the right angle, so that actually kind of doesn't matter. This side is still the hypotenuse. And then that leaves this side over here, the 28 side, as the adjacent side. So depending on what side you are starting from, what angle you are looking at, the top triangle over here is looking at it from angle X. The adjacent side is the 21 and the opposite is the 28. Those trade when you're looking at it from angle Z. So perspective is everything, right? You may look at this 21 and say it's opposite if you're coming at it from the Z point of view, but you may look at this 21 side and say, well, no, that's the adjacent if you're looking at it from the X point of view. So perspective is everything. An important note, you will never label the triangle from the perspective of the right angle. So angle Y is not something that we'll look at here. Why? You might ask for why? Because its opposite is the 35, and the hypotenuse is also the 35. So we actually would be double labeling something, which we don't want to do.